Good afternoon, viewers at home. My name is Teacher Daisy, teacher for grade 4, and I welcome you all to today's online teaching. If you are able to join us online, then good. But if you are not able to join us live, you can go back and watch YouTube. You go to our YouTube, and then after you must have finished watching, if you like the teaching, you can click like the like button. Thank you very much. Okay, today I'll be teaching you English language, and the topic for today is direct and indirect objects. In English language, there are things we call direct and indirect objects. So first of all today, I would like to explain to you what an object is before I start. An object refers to someone or something that receives an action performed in a sentence. For you to know what an object is, and in a sentence, an object must receive an action that is performed by a subject. So a subject is the giver of an action in a sentence, while an object is the receiver of an action in a sentence. So an object receives an action in a sentence. Then we have two types of object, that is direct object and indirect object. What is a direct object? Now listen very well. The direct object is the direct receiver of an action mentioned in a sentence. A direct object receives directly in a sentence. It doesn't receive through anybody or anything. It receives the action directly. The action is performed directly for that particular object. Okay? So now I have an example, and also it answers the question what or whom. So for you not to be confused, just know that an indirect object in a sentence answers the question what or whom. For example, what happened to this? Who did this thing happen to? Whose name is this? Who is that? So it answers the question of what and whom. Example 1. John hits the ball. John hits the ball. Now you see, it answers the question what or who. Now, who hit the ball? Who is that person? It is John. So what did John eat? What did he eat? What? He hits a ball. So the ball here is the direct object in this sentence. Hope you are following what I'm teaching. Now, the second one. They named the boy Christopher. Who did they name Christopher in this sentence? Who? The boy. So you see, this is the direct object. So it's receiving directly the action named. So there must be an action in that sentence, and it must receive the action. Now this first one, I'll go back to this first example. John hits the ball. You see the action word here, hits. Okay? So the ball is what John did what? Hits. So it's receiving the action directly. It's not receiving from anybody. Now I move to indirect objects. This is the second type of object we have in this language. Indirect objects. The indirect object identifies the person or thing for whom the action of the verb is performed. You see, direct is what and whom. Answers the question what and whom. But this one is only for whom. The indirect object only answers the question for whom. For whom this action is performed for. Who did they do this thing for? Who did they buy such a thing for? Who did they beat? Are you getting what I'm saying? So for you not to be confused, just know that this one answers the question what and who, but indirect answers only who. Okay? So now I'll move to example 1. My mother bought me a necklace. You see, if you look at this sentence, somebody bought a necklace for someone. So the person's mother bought her a necklace. So who did they buy a necklace for? That is why I said it answers the question whom. For whom. Something must be done to someone or for someone with an indirect object. The object doesn't receive directly, but it receives through something. So now, my mother bought me a necklace. If you watch it, who did the mother buy the necklace? Me. So the pronoun me here is the indirect object. The pronoun me here is the indirect object. Whom did they buy the necklace for? Me. As simple as that. Then the second question, the second example. John told Peter a story. John told Peter a story. Now, this is the action word told. So, who did they tell a story? It is not Peter that told the story, but it is John that told the story. So, who did they tell the story to? It is what? Peter. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So now, John told Peter a story. So Peter here is the indirect object. Now, for those that will still be confused, I'll summarize. When I started, I told you that an object is the receiver of an action in a sentence. It receives directly from the subject. It receives from the subject. The subject is the giver, while the object is what? The receiver. Now, direct objects. A direct object receives directly in a sentence. It doesn't retrieve, it receives through something. So, example 1, John hit the ball, and I said the ball is what? The direct object in this sentence. They named the boy Christopher. Boy is what? Direct object in this sentence. Indirect object. The indirect object identifies the person for whom the action is being performed. Okay? And it answers the question, who? So now, example 1. My mother bought me a necklace. Me is the indirect object. Secondly, John told Peter a story. Peter is the indirect object. So, for you not to be confused, you just have to know that this one answers the question who and what. So if you see such a sentence, you can be able to identify if it's an indirect sentence or direct, okay? So now this one answers whom. So as simple as that. So pupil, I hope you enjoyed this teaching today. Till we meet next time, I'm your teacher, your favorite teacher, Teacher Daisy. And please keep safe, stay safe, wash your hands, okay? Till we meet next time. God bless you. I love you. Ciao.